Hello and welcome back to my small little library. Today we're gonna do a spring book tag. I am really in the mood to do a tag video. I think like they kind of over in like the YouTube algorithm, but I really enjoyed them. And so I found one that a German YouTuber did with questions from her community. So I'm just gonna translate the questions, but I'm gonna link the video down below. It is in German, obviously. So you won't be really able to watch it if you don't know German, but I like the questions, and so I decided I can just translate them for you, and I will link her video because obviously the questions are from her community, and we need to give credit where it's due, obviously. The tag has 10 questions about like spring related books, stuff like that. And yeah, let's get into this. The first question is, finally the sun is back again. Which book is as good as the first sun rays? Obviously in Germany that works quite well because we have really dark winters, and yeah, I decided to go with one of my favorite swoon-worthy cute books, and that is actually The House in the Cerulean Sea, one of the first queer romances that I read. Or fantasy romance. This one's actually one of the very few books that I like that is a combination of genres. Yeah, but here we have, it is by TJ Klune. We have an island where a group of children is living that all have special abilities, and our main character works for the association that is supposed to keep these children in, like, keep track of them and make sure they live in good homes, kind of. And he is sent to this island because one of the children is the son of Satan, and people around this island have made it their mission to get the kids put away, more or less. And he falls in love with the keeper of the children that lives on the island with them. And yeah, this was one of my, like, it is sad in places, but it just makes me smile so mad. So big, this book, because the characters are all so cute. The children are actually really cute, which I really enjoyed. I'm normally not somebody for kids in books, but here they are all really, really cute with their abilities, and you know, them still being children, and then both of the guys slowly falling in love and actually both caring for the children. Really cute, swoon-worthy book. So yeah. Also a pretty popular book when it came out. Then we have the second question, which is a book with a flower on the title or on the cover. And I have two for this because I just couldn't choose. So first we have The Last Tale of the Flower Bride, where we actually have the name and the flowers on the cover. This one is like a mystery, a supernatural kind of mystery. There's also romance, and I really was surprised by this book when I got it because I thought I would hate it, and I really loved it. And I just love this cover. This is like, this speaks to me on so many levels. And then the same goes for this book actually, which is The Whispering Dark, a dark academia book, which is actually the first dark academia book I ever really liked. And it is also kind of a paranormal thriller, but it plays out at a university for people with like special abilities, and the main character is deaf, which was super good. And yeah, I just love the flowers with these skulls in them. It's like such a pretty cover, so I thought that would be quite fitting for that question. Then we have question number 3, which is spring cleaning. Which audiobook makes the cleaning nicer for you? And for that we have The Lord of the Rings, because if I want an entertaining audiobook that keeps me on my toes and makes time fly by, it is always gonna be The Lord of the Rings, by, oh, what is his name? By the actor that plays Gollum. Andy Serkis. By Andy Serkis. Lord of the Rings by Andy Serkis, the best version that you can listen to. He is brilliant. I love him. So yeah, that's always the audiobook to go with. Then we have question number 4. Everything is Growing. Which book has been an unexpected highlight for you? And for that one, I had a hard time finding one, but I did land on The Hippopotamus by Stephen Fry. I got this. I didn't really want it because this is like a contemporary novel, and at that point I just really wasn't into contemporary novels, and then it turns out this is quite the funny book. Stephen Fry has a way with his words. With this one we have Ted, and he's kind of over it in general. He's a journalist. He goes back to where he grew up, to his family, and he uncovers some secrets in the family that are kind of disturbing, kind of funny. It is just a weird book, and part of the weirdness is a child in the family that everybody kind of believes has healing powers, and he kind of uncovers what is up with that, and it's equally disturbing and funny at the same time, and I did not expect to like this book in any way, and I loved it when I read it. I did like a really bad description of it right now because it has been quite a bit of time since I read it, but I would actually recommend reading this if you are not too disturbed by some sexual things that happen in the book that include animals and humans, just to be warned. But it is not the act is done in a funny way, but like these circumstances make it kind of funny, and the whole book grows around that, and it was incredible. Wouldn't have thought that. Then we have the fifth question, which is bird songs. Which book has a playlist that you like to listen to? And I have to be honest, I have never once listened to a playlist for a book. I am kind of particular about the music I listen to. I mostly listen to the same songs over and over again. I don't really love book playlists. I understand them, I get that, but yeah, I'm not interested in listening to them, to be honest. So I can't answer the question because I have never done that. So yeah, also I don't listen to music when I read, so I don't know when I would listen to the book playlists. Do you listen to it when you read? I don't know. Then we have question number 6. A spring equals new beginnings. Which book gives you the feeling of new beginnings? And for me that has to be Children of Time, because the book is a new beginning for humanity and for the spiders. If you've read it, you know what I'm talking about. But we have a sci-fi, Earth is dying. They send ships into space, like experiments, to choose a couple of planets and make some experiments to make them inhabitable for humans. And one of these planets, there were apes in the rocket and they died on impact, but there were also some spiders on board that weren't supposed to be there, and they actually developed, and yeah, we get the perspective of the spiders, now sentient beings, and then the humans at some point landing on the planet that was supposed to be prepared for them, and then they clash a little bit. Wonderful. And it's always like this, for me this is just new beginnings. The whole concept of the spiders living there, having their own society, being sentient, and then at some point starting to talk to the humans and all of that, absolutely lovely. Then we have question number 7, a book in which the protagonist gets a glow up, and I have not one book that I could actually use for this. I don't know, I don't seem to really like read books where you have like a focus on the main character like transforming. So yeah, I didn't know what to choose for that. I mean, technically you could use The Hunger Games. Maybe we can go with The Hunger Games because I feel like that kind of does it. But I don't know if I'm just too dumb for the question. But I mean, like the main characters always kind of learn, but really like having a glow up, I'm not quite sure with that. Then we have a book that reminds you of hay fever, so a book that always makes you cry, and that for me has to be Stormy, which is a romance I read rather recently. I already read it 3 times, which yeah, it's super sad. It is about an abusive relationship, or rather the aftermath of an abusive relationship, about Stormy, who sits in front of a shut down building with a bike in a storm that he doesn't know is a hurricane, and our other main character drives by him and is like, oh my god, I have to get him to safety, there's a storm coming, and he seems pretty lost. So he takes him with him and then slowly discovers the horrors that Stormy has lived through and the violence that is pretty much coming after him, the problems he still has, and both of them fall in love in a really slow and sweet way. But yeah, there's always something in the background, you know, reminding them that this isn't over. The bike is stolen and Stormy has somebody after him that wants him back because he sees him as property. And it is so sad. The book has so many like good sad and bad sad moments in equal measure. And yeah, I cry every time I read that book. I've read it 3 times. I've cried every time. And yeah, it just makes me feel all the feelings, so I had to go with that one. Then we have the 9th question, which is a book in the color of your favorite flower. And my favorite flowers are lilacs, and I have, I think, only one book that actually fits the color, which is The Sword of Shannara, the first book in the Shannara Chronicles by Terry Brooks. A favorite like a fantasy novel that I really like, that is kind of reminiscent of The Lord of the Rings, but with a sword that they need to find to tackle the bad things that are coming. And we have elves and humans and dwarves, so we have all of the like more like classical fantasy things. But yeah, this book has the lovely lilac color that I love so much. And so yeah, it's kind of also why I love the flower. I'm not particularly about flowers. I don't like having like cut flowers because I think it's kind of madness to cut something living to display it in your home. So I only buy flowers that are still in the earth. So yeah, I don't really have that many flowers around me, and I don't like having them in my home for that reason. So I don't really have that much of like a favorite flower, but I do love the look of lilac, and my parents had some in the house. When I grew up, we had like a really nice lilac in the garden, so I've chosen that because of that. But yeah, I'm not the best person to talk to about flowers, if we're gonna be honest. And then we have the last question, which is a book that is so captivating that it can go up against the spring tiredness that we are all feeling. And for that one, I chose Kings of the Wild. This is a comedy fantasy about middle-aged dudes who were in a war band and are now getting back together to form a war band to rescue the daughter of one of the guys. And it is so much fun, and there's so much fighting and drinking and just good company, and the pacing is really great all around, with like action bits, like slower bits, action bits, and getting to know the guys. And yeah, for me, this one, if I want something to like love to like have a loving fit, but also like be like zoomed in into the book, I would go with Kings of the Wild, or the second one, which is Bloody Rose, which is then about the daughter in the next one. But yeah, this one is amazing. Also one of my favorite books that has like the main characters be like middle-aged dudes, because these are funny, cool middle-aged dudes, which we don't see all that often, if I'm gonna be honest. So yeah, that book always gets me. Have read it a couple of times. And also I think funny fantasy doesn't always land right, and with that one you are good to go if you want to like have like good laugh while reading the fantasy. So yeah, those were all of the questions for the spring book tag. I really enjoyed these questions. I hope you enjoyed this video. I know that tags are not for everybody, but I do like them. It gives me the opportunity to recommend a couple of books that I maybe don't talk about all that much otherwise. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. The original is linked down below, but just to be sure, it is in German. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope I will see you in the next one. Maybe subscribe or leave a like if you want to. And yeah, bye bye.